watching this film, obviously, you're so immersed in it, and there's sequences where you have to go through some very emotional times, especially when you're preaching and you start like crying during your preaching. I'm wondering, as a director, how aware are you of directing that scene while you're actually in it? Like, how do you know what shot to set up? How do you emotionally get there?
You know, a lot of it is faith. I never told myself early on, I'm gonna write this thing, direct it, produce it. I just said, man, what is my contribution to the conversation moving forward for America with respect to race relations? And then, this film, this opportunity came to me, and then, I'm in the throes and I'm making this film, and at some point I had to ask myself, going into principal photography, I just gotta trust that this last 8 years, that the research is in there, that Nat is in there, that all of these people putting all of this time into it, that they're committed, they understand, we all understand the importance. So, my prayer was like, Lord, just cover us so that everything we do will be the right thing. Kind of like that, because to answer your question, there's no directing yourself in that scene.
Right.
We did that scene once, believe it or not.
That's the one shot?
One take. What you saw, that angle, the only one.
Sing to him a new song?
Sing to him a new song. I told my team, I said, we ran 2 cameras next to each other. Because the thing about it is you have about, between taking off the hat of the director and putting on the hat of the actor, there's about 30 seconds you have. When you're shooting a movie in 27 days, you just don't have time to like, all right, I'm gonna go get ready. When you're an actor, you do when you're not directing a film, because you just go in your trailer, and you're all day in your trailer, and you're staring at the wall thinking like, man, how do I feel, and who is this character, am I in touch? For this, you just gotta trust it. Wow. So it was like, all right, the cameras will go right here, all right, these are the people, here, we're gonna have these people here, boom, you guys here, this is, giving them direction, this is how I want you to feel, this is what I want you to, when you feel that when you understand where I'm going, and you feel like we're in danger, you and I, Army or Samuel, then if you feel like looking. If you don't, do it, trust your gut.
Yeah, Army kind of like,
that was on him.
That was amazing.
It was great, right? Like, where's he's going. And then the other guy just thinking, oh yeah, they're like all happy and dancing, so this is great. Not realizing that they're being inspired to resist.
Right.
In some scenes, that was probably the most electric scene I've ever had in my life. It was so emotional because as a man, I believe those words. As a man of faith, I believe those words. As an actor acting the scene, I have to believe those words. As a director, I have to believe those words because I'm directing. As a writer, I have to believe those words because I wrote them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And many of that monologue came, from the Bible. And of course, it was tweaked to be something that the guy on the left, plantation owner, would not be able to decipher. It's like speaking in code almost. But there's something that happens where you reach a breaking point. When you've seen so much injustice that you say to yourself, I can't do this anymore. And that happened for him in the moment. No spoilers, but before, what he saw, and then staying on that porch was like, okay, now make them docile.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my God, what am I doing? If God is real, these people are wrong. These people are wrong. At some point, I have to have the courage to fight back with my word. And he did.
I was just in a room with Gabrielle Union, and it was an emotional room because, I mean, obviously what she's gone through and being a survivor, and obviously playing a character in a movie where she is completely silent. I know she originally had some dialogue, but she wanted it to be voiceless. I'm just wondering, like, as a director, I mean, one thing she said to me I thought was interesting was, this is a big story.
Sure.
This is an important story that people need to learn about. If someone's going through something personal in their own lives, that's their personal business. Her line was, this movie's actually bigger than Nate Parker, is what she said. So I'm wondering, like, how you feel about that, and like, hoping that this controversy does not overshadow the story.
Look, like I said before, as you mentioned some of the cast, there's so many cast members that put so much time into this project. So many crew members that were away from their family for 15 weeks to make this thing happen. And it wasn't for me, it was for the legacy of Nat Turner. It was for the idea that somewhere in this story, people could watch it and come out and feel changed to the point that their behaviors would change in their communities, that they would see injustices in their communities and ask themselves, okay, well, what is my responsibility to that? What is my responsibility to the race conversation? Am I willing to have a real conversation on it? Am I willing to make myself uncomfortable to deal with this thing? In the same way that Nat Turner did what he did not knowing what would come of it. He said, I think, I need to fight. If I'm listening to, my creator, I got to do something. But no one gave him a book that said, oh, like an almanac. Well, hey, in the future, this is what's going to happen. Historians believe that his action precipitated the Civil War. You know what I mean? With the blue, because after
That last shot, man.
you know,
Oh.
it's like it was connected. It's all connected.
Yeah.
But to do something, what they say to get something you've never had, sometimes you have to do something you've never done, and that type of sacrifice isn't always written in our DNA. But films like this hopefully can write it on a